the headlines, bandits attack and kill former councillor in Zamfara State. NDLEA intercepts bandits, seizes weapons in Katsina and Benue states. Plateau State records 28 new deaths, 1,415 cases of cholera. And on the foreign scene, 8 people die as Russia tourist helicopter crashes into lake. Hello and welcome to TrustTV News Update. I am Ayubelia. Thank you for joining. The news in details. A former councillor of Sabongida Ward, Farouk Hassan, has been killed by unidentified gunmen few minutes after he arrived at his home. The incident happened less than 24 hours after gunmen invaded the house of another former councillor, Babangida Damba, who was shot while his nursing wife and 8-month-old baby boy were kidnapped. Daily Trust correspondent Shehu Umar tells us more.
The victim is currently responding to medical treatment in his residence. When the gunmen laid siege, they told him that they were there to assassinate him. When they learned that he was not willing to open the doors for them and was calling the attention of security operatives to his plight, they began to fire shots into the rooms. They shot him at the hand, abducted his wife and her 8-month child. Meanwhile, another former councillor was killed in Sabongida, a community located just 5 kilometers from where the first incident took place. Sabongida is a community hosting Federal University Gusau, and some of the residents there who spoke to TrustTV correspondent lamented how government failed to beef up security in the area. They said they had been suffering from series of attacks in the first few years.
Meanwhile, the people of Kaduna State express hope over the lingering security challenges in the state due to the ongoing operation in the state by security troops, as 11 people have regained their freedom. Our correspondent Fatima Salila then tells us more.
Reports from security agencies to the state government is saying about 11 people that were kidnapped escaped from captivity, and this is as a result of the security operations going on in the state, while 2 others were rescued from troops. They escaped from bandits operating at the outskirts of Sabon town in Igabi local government area, and Sabon has been a no-go area. There is a road that links the Kaduna International Airport. People now follow other alternative routes to the airport. This is due to the excessive insecurity in the area. In these few days of security operations, there have been improvement in terms of security. There are no records of banditry attacks, mass abduction in some days back compared to some days back, unless for the ones who are still in captivity, just like the Bethel Secondary School students, where today marks exactly 38 days they've been in captivity, where about 121 students were kidnapped from the school. Well, there are a series of release from the bandits. As of now, there are about 80 students who are still in captivity. And the citizens of Kaduna State are expressing hope that due to this operation by the security operatives, the security challenges bedeviling the state will come to an end, or at least for now, that we have seen a lot of improvement in terms of security, that it will be maintained.
Operatives of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency have arrested 3 armed bandits at the Mushehu, Tukur Muhammad and Ibrahim Suleiman in Katsina State, with 3 AK-47 rifles among other items recovered. A heavy weapon manufacturer, Celestine Christian, was arrested with a high-caliber G3 rifle along with 78 rounds of live ammunition of 7.62 mm caliber and 5 empty shells in Benue State while trying to move them to Jos Plateau State. Speaking at the NDLEA headquarters in Abuja on Thursday, Chairman of the agency, Brigadier General Muhammad Buba Marwa, retired, noted that the NDLEA will continue to support efforts by other security agencies especially the armed forces, to restore law and order across the country. The NDLEA boss commended the Katsina and Benue state commands for their vigilance and unrelenting commitment to rid the country of illicit substances. Now, the demolitions of shops and houses that started in Pape on Wednesday, 11th August, has continued to rage on as people living in the Abuja slum are left to pick up pieces of their lives. Container shops, makeshift stalls, and even some houses were not spared from the demolition that took place. Chidoke Okafor tells us more.
Again, the people of this community are woken by the ugly sounds of caterpillars and excavators crushing shops and clearing everything in their paths. It is the second day since demolitions began in Pape, and just like yesterday, people are standing by, watching what they have built for many years destroyed by the Joint Task Force in charge of demolitions.
It's unfair. This is no longer the road they say they want to build. Building road is contain some people private land that people acquire doing their business. They are demolishing it. Look at people property. In the road does not mean
Emotions are flaring as some shouted, others cried, while many just stood with arms wrapped around their body, a sign of how chilling the situation is to their spine.
I don't hear road at all.
People like Ilyasu Abdullahi, who owns a mechanic workshop here, says that he has been affected by such demolitions in Abuja 3 times in a row. He shares his grievous story.
This place is no road. I was at Utako. They started demolish where I am. Like 4 places, 4 times they burn engine where I buy for people. I have to pay back. You understand? I don't know what this government are doing. The people, they don't even see the criminal at all. They are not looking for the criminal. They are looking for people to invite inside the criminal. Because somebody like myself, I have never laid hand on anything that is not belonging to me. The work I learned is the work I'm doing. And I'm in the workshop, not on the road.
For some of these residents, it seems all hope is lost, and the faith and trust they once had in the government has been razed down together with their properties that were destroyed. And now, all they look forward to is a day when all these troubles will come to an end and they would live without the fear of the FCDA.
I don't get where I don't get anybody for here. Now the food where they cook. Now I go that they spend where they spend the money where they use to. And they don't scatter everything. Now I don't know where I go start to. I don't know what thing I go do now.
This is day 2 of the demolitions that have rocked Pape community here in Abuja. And one cannot take away the sympathetic feeling that comes with some of the stories that these people have to tell. Now, residents of Pape are left with very deep damages that might take years for them to regain back their losses. In situations like this, humanity overshadows professionalism. Chijoke Okafor, TrustTV News, Abuja.
Now, humanity turn to various sources for health when it comes to their health. While many trust modern conventional medicine with their lives, others hold on to the traditional beliefs of healing, judging by the high rate of consumption of local herbs and usage of traditional medicines. Trust TV's Nafisa Abdul-Al reports.
If you're standing here and you're such person, if somebody there for house, you don't accumulate bacteria for body, and the person they always complain of internal heat. For night to come up from bed, go lie down to floor of the ground, now the leaf of the plant.
Dominic Alex Omakondo is a naturalist who says he was born to heal the world through nature. With his unique ability to draw a crowd and enlighten people on the value and healing properties of herbs and plants in their environment.
Let us all know that it should be a tradition for us. Go behind your house, get plants. If your child is sick, treat the person. We should stop taking something that goes to treat symptoms. We should try to heal ourselves. Every illness has its own plant. Before God created man, God created plants already. Every illness has its own plant there. It's just for us to do more extra works to get to the plants and help ourselves out.
Dr. Olatishe Olalekan, who is a consultant nephrologist and a medical director, is of the opinion that some of the herbal medicines are toxic to the kidneys.
Herbal concoction, we must be very careful. We are seeing a lot of people come to the hospital with kidney failure from consuming herbs in form of acute kidney injury, And so we must send this message out there so that people are cautious, especially knowing that you consume some of these things on the street without knowing where they are coming from, without knowing how they were manufactured or how they were prepared. Some of the herbs that our forefathers you talked about were basically from green leaves.
Some of the people that watched attentively as Dominic dished out the lecture also expressed their views about traditional medicine.
Go back to your market, go get me NDLEA, this black kernel oil, man and lady. Get me 3 tablespoons of the black kernel oil. Just 3 tablespoons. Once you get me the 3 tablespoons only, add them inside and mix them very well.
My grandfather stayed 135 years before he died. So we are family of roots. So those days, if you say I be man or I know that time, I forgo far because they carry us go inside bush, go gather leaves. We come oil and come they give them people. Honestly, warm, we know they get sick, all this sickness or whatever. I prefer root. I keep on telling people, let us go back to our natural something.
Well, it depends on what you are treating. Like if you are treating some kind of diseases, you will need pharmaceutical drugs. Then there are some other diseases that you need the natural herbs. Like if you are, maybe they want to carry out a surgery on you. Maybe after the surgery, it is those pharmaceutical drugs that they might recommend. You have to take them too. But if there are other ailments that does not need surgery, I believe natural herbs can do the job very well.
And I have this general belief that herbal medicines don't work. The patient takes it and go and die. But I discovered that people that are traveling to China, all these importers, when you go to China today and you enter any factory in China, they will give you a local herb. But people started now, in fact, I give kudos to the Yorubas. They call it agbo. But it works.
Although medical doctors have called for caution on the usage of herbal medication, the question is, are these herbs truly bad?
We're not saying that some of these plant products do not work. No, we don't say that at all because we encourage people to take plants and vegetables and fruits, things like that. What we mean is that whatever is being taken should be supervised. We must know exactly what these compounds contain. We must know exactly what dosage is being taken so that if there's any deleterious effect on the body, it can be picked up early. So how is this done? This will be done by ensuring that the people who make the natural remedies pass them through appropriate channels to investigate them and identify that they are safe to be consumed by people, to also ensure that they have licenses so that when individuals who take these products have any effects, it can be traced back to the person who gave it.
The use of herbs in medicine is a tradition that has always been a part of different peoples and cultures all over the world. More so in Nigeria, where traditional medicine is an alternative medicine practiced and widely consumed by many. Herbs, they claim, have been used by their ancestors long before the discovery of modern medicine. However, medical experts have called for caution. Nafisa Abdul-Al, TrustTV News, Abuja.
Now, Plateau State has recorded 28 new deaths and 1,415 cases following the outbreak of cholera in the state. Chairman House Committee on Health, Honorable Daniel Nambo Listic, made this known to reporters in Jos on Thursday. Listic said from August 10, 2021, based on the epidemiology data of cholera outbreak in the state, 16 local governments were affected with 1,415 cases recorded. He added that Jos North has the highest number of cholera cases with 599 cases, while just South and Bassa local governments followed with 423 and 151 cases respectively. The federal government has received 177,600 doses of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine on Thursday, stating that the second phase of the national vaccination program is expected to kick off next Monday. The single-shot J&J vaccine was acquired through the African Vaccine Acquisition Trust with support from Afrexim Bank. According to the Africa Center for Disease Control, the vaccines were partly manufactured in Africa and are expected to be deployed in hard-to-reach areas to eliminate the need for travel for a second dose. The Health Minister Osagi Ehanire said on Thursday that Nigeria has procured nearly 40 million doses of the vaccine through AVAT. Now, as the states across the country struggle to curb the spread of COVID-19 Delta variant, the nation records 790 new cases, the highest in 6 months. While government intensified efforts to ramp up inoculation, controversy over COVID-19 vaccine has continued to spread, sabotaging efforts. The report.
The Federal Ministry of Health.
Nigeria has so far approved 6 COVID-19 vaccines, namely Gamaleya, Moderna, Pfizer, Johnson & Johnson, AstraZeneca, and Covishield, as it battles the Delta variant of the virus. Of the 6 vaccines, the country has received 4 million doses each of AstraZeneca and Moderna vaccines, all donated. But controversy over the safety of the vaccines has continued to mar the vaccination process. With the research in the number of infections, only 1.4 million people have been fully vaccinated, while 2.5 million await second dose of the vaccine, accounting for less than 1.5% of the country's population. Some Nigerians remain skeptical owing to the conspiracy theories about the safety of the vaccines, especially on social media. Government has continued to assure Nigerians of their safety.
You see, Nigerians are extremely fertile in imagination, and they will make statements that are baseless, that are not proven by science. Those who are saying this, is Nigeria the only country where Moderna vaccine is being administered on people? The answer is no. So they should stop this nonsense.
The recent 4 million doses of Moderna vaccine donated by the United States is to fulfill President Joe Biden's promise to share 80 million doses produced in the United States with other countries. The National Agency for Food and Drug Administration says it is subjecting the Moderna vaccine to test before the beginning of vaccination.
We have been working around the clock in terms of making sure that we do testing on the Moderna vaccines. The health of our people is premium to us in NAFDAC, and right now we are doing the testing. It's not something you go to the lab and in 2 hours you come out. No, it may take 3 days, 4 days, but we are trying to shorten it as much as possible.
The World Health Organization is concerned that nearly 70% of African countries will not reach the 10% vaccination target by the end of September 2021. You're watching TrustTV News Update. Coming up after the break, young people tasked to take charge as the world celebrates International Youth Day. Join us again for more.
Get latest updates on current topical issues and breaking news by downloading the TrustTV mobile app on your Android devices. Go online, click Google Play Store, search TrustTV, install the app, and get doses of unfiltered information on happenings all over the world in your pocket. TrustTV, documenting the Nigerian story.
My name is Samuel Dada.
Yakubu Isa, ana mana kabi da jeje.
Aminu Musa.
A wannan harkar ce muke dan samun abinci, an muke taimaka mu wasu da yawa.
Looking for private jobs. Sometimes you get employed and the process of payment, you undergo some kind of stress.
Thanks for staying with us, and this is Trust TV News Update. Now let's have another look at some of our top stories. A former councillor of Sabongida Ward, Farouk Hassan, has been killed by unidentified gunmen at his home in Zamfara State. Plus, the federal government has received 177,600 doses of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine on Thursday, stating that the second phase of the national vaccination program is expected to kick off next Monday. Moving on now, August 12, officially known as International Youth Day, is celebrated annually to give youths a platform and a voice. The day, often accompanied by major events, engages youngsters with drive to take initiatives and actions that will increase opportunities for them and how to manage resources to address global problems. Dashan Hussaina Usman tells us more.
International Youth Day is a day set aside annually to celebrate youths all over the world. The purpose of this day is to create awareness on issues the youths may be facing, as well as celebrate their achievements. United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres, during this year's celebration, says young people are on the front lines of the struggle to build a better future for all.
The UN is strengthening its work for and with young people worldwide. I urge everyone to guarantee young people a seat at the table as we build a world based on inclusive, fair and sustainable development for all.
A virtual webinar organized by Youth Collaboration Summit that had in attendance youths from different walks of life as panelists also had President National Youth Council of Nigeria, Solomon Adodo, who spoke on the ideal Nigerian youth.
To be involved in leadership, we must first be prepared for leadership. We must get the requisite knowledge, we must know the political terrain, and we must also be equipped even on the financial front. Because we tend to say we should not do money politics. But of course, even to convene a meeting, you need resources. So for leadership, Nigerian youth should begin to prepare for leadership. And when you prepare for leadership, when you refine yourself to a certain extent, the world will have no option but to adopt you.
This year's theme is Transforming Food Systems, Youth Innovation for Human and Planetary Health. With the world's population expected to increase by 2 billion in the next 30 years, numerous stakeholders recognize that the accomplishment of a worldwide initiative such as poverty reduction, social inclusion, health care, biodiversity conservation, and climate change mitigation will not be possible without the active engagement of young people. In 1965, United Nations General Assembly began making a concerted effort to impact and empower the youth. In 1999, the UN General Assembly endorsed the recommendation made by the World Conference of Ministers responsible for youth, and International Youth Day was commemorated and has since been celebrated every 12th day in August. Dashan Hussaina Usman, Trust TV News, Abuja.
The Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development, Mohammed Nanunu, has called on stakeholders in the seed industry to ensure effective implementation of the Plant Variety Protection Act 2021. Nanono made the call in Abuja at the unveiling of the PVP Act for the Northern region. The PVP Act 2021 is a legal framework designed to protect plant breeders. It is also an intellectual property protection law that helps encourage plant breeders and other stakeholders in the planting industry by granting them intellectual property right over their material. The minister noted that effective implementation of the act was needed to develop superior plant varieties with high yield potential, explaining that it is critical to ensuring food security in the country. For his part, the sponsor of the bill, Monir Danakudi, said that the importance of plant variety could not be overemphasized, as Nigeria was still threatened by poor yields, soil degradation, emerging and traditional pest diseases.
It is very important that this Seed Protection Act is diligently followed and implemented. And on a regular basis, we should engage all the stakeholders in this business, discuss and review what has happened in the past and make strategy of what is going to go for the future. But whatever we are going to do, we have to address this fundamental issue of low yield.
Concerned efforts should be made by our breeders to make crosses and use advanced techniques and biotechnology to develop varieties.
We will soon begin to see on our farmers' fields superior yields, step tolerance, disease resistance, climate smart, input efficient varieties that will be introduced by our innovative breeders, both from public and private sector, in few years to come. In addition, also, we begin to witness efficient land use and reduced food costs as a result of increased productivity from cultivated hectares across the country.
We must add to the sense of urgency to strengthen partnerships for resilient seeds regulations through catalytic investment into the seed sector. Look at tackling high level of insecurity for sustainable and inclusive seed systems and agricultural transformation in Nigeria.
And now on the foreign scene, a helicopter carrying 16 tourists and crew on a sightseeing trip in Russia's Far East crashed into a lake on Thursday, leaving 8 people, including a child, dead and 2 others in serious condition. The Mi-8 helicopter crash landed into the icy waters of Kuril Lake in the mountainous Kamchatka Peninsula and sank, local authorities said. Staff of the reserve dispatched boats to the crash site and saved 8 people. 2 are now in intensive care with various injuries. Survivors praised wildlife inspectors for coming to their rescue. And now in sports news, Chelsea have re-signed Belgian Romelu Lukaku from Inter Milan. The London club confirmed the return of the 28-year-old striker for a reported club record fee of £97 million in a statement on Thursday. Lukaku scored 64 goals in 2 seasons in Italy to quickly become a hero at the San Siro. But the Belgian also has a proven record in the Premier League, scoring 113 goals during spells with Manchester United, Everton and West Brom. And that wraps it up for Trust TV News Update. For latest news, you can follow us on all social media handles. I am Ayuba Ilya. Thank you for watching.